Muy buenas noches, good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Inter-American Dialogue's inaugural Leadership for the Americas Award Gala. Bienvenidos a todos, es un placer estar con ustedes y poder compartir esta noche tan especial. Mi nombre es María Elena Salinas y es mi honor servir esta noche como su maestra de ceremonias. It is my honor, my distinct honor to serve this evening as Mistress of Ceremonies. Before we get started in our celebration, I want to take just a moment for all of us to express our condolences to the families of those who lost their lives in that barbaric act of terrorism in Paris. I'd like to say also that as complicated and as dangerous as our world has become, it's important that we don't confuse a twisted mind that is full of hatred with a desperate being that is looking for a better life. It's important that we don't confuse those who want to kill with those who just want to work. With that said, let's just take a moment of silence in honor of those who lost their lives. Thank you, let's move on. We have a great evening planned for you today. As you may know, the Inter-American Dialogue engages its network of global leaders to foster the three pillars of its mission: democratic governance, prosperity, and social equity in Latin America and the Caribbean. It seeks to shape policy debate and come up with practical ideas and solutions to real problems. And the dialogue encourages all nations of the Western Hemisphere to work together to meet pressing regional and global challenges, and there are many for sure. 17 dialogue members served as presidents of their countries, and I have had the honor of interviewing some of those in the past, and over 36 have served also at cabinet level. We have the distinct privilege of having many of those distinguished leaders here with us this evening. Welcome to all of you. The 2015 Leadership for the Americas Award Gala will honor some of the most outstanding people fostering the values embodied by the Dialogue's mission that is shared by all of us. And as you know from your program dinner in front of you, Cardinal McCarrick will be here this evening. Unfortunately, he's not here yet. He's a little bit delayed because he is participating with the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, so he is en route from Baltimore and will be with us a little later on this evening. Instead, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing to you Michael Shifter, who has been the Dialogue's president for over 5 years and has contributed so much to the organization for more than 2 decades. Michael writes and comments on U.S.-Latin American relations. His work often appears in the leading newspapers and journals of the United States and nearly every country in Latin America. In response to a rapidly changing hemisphere, Michael has led the dialogue through a very exciting period of renewal. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Michael Shifter.
Buenas noches, good evening. María Elena, thank you so much for that kind introduction. And thank you for being with us this evening. It means so much to all of us. You've set a very high standard for your profession and are an inspiration for so many. You and other journalists, some of whom join us tonight, are at the front lines defending democracy. Our hemisphere citizens owe all of you a huge debt. Thank you for your leadership. I may be taking Cardinal McCarrick's speaking slot, but I can't possibly fill in for him. I confess that invocations are not my strength. No one has been more steadfast in his support of the Dialogue's mission. No one brings greater moral clarity to the hemisphere's agenda, whether it's immigration reform or U.S. relations with Cuba. I assure you that Cardinal McCarrick will join us later this evening. He always comes through on his promises. He promised us he would get us a Latin American Pope and look what happened. Like Pope Francis, Cardinal McCarrick is devoted to building bridges and fostering cooperation. As we celebrate leadership in the Americas tonight, we recognize his lifetime of service. If the inter-American dialogue has learned any lesson over the course of more than 3 decades, it is that the kind of leadership exemplified by all of our speakers and honorees this evening has been essential to moving towards greater democracy, prosperity, and equity in this hemisphere. Today, that quality of leadership may be more vital than ever in meeting new and difficult political, economic, and social challenges. Both in good times as well as tough moments, women and men with wisdom, vision, commitment, and perseverance are fundamental to advancing the well-being of all citizens. The global leaders we engage every day motivate us to strive for the highest standards. So we are so honored by our speakers tonight, and we celebrate all of you, our dear friends and supporters. Thank you for being here and believing in the work that we do. I want to thank and recognize so many distinguished guests, former heads of state, ambassadors, U.S. administration, and congressional representatives. And I want to extend special thanks to the Dialogue's Gala Leadership Committee and its co-chairs, Ernesto Zedillo and Carla Hills, and to honorary co-chairs, Fernando Enrique Cardoso, Enrique Iglesias, and Ricardo Lagos. We are so grateful. We are so grateful to our presenting sponsor, Fundación Vidanta, and our diamond sponsors, Interjet, Chevron, and Sempra, and to all the other sponsors and supporters you can see listed on your program and on the screens during the dinner. We deeply appreciate your generous support. We would not be here without you. It's been a remarkable and productive year for the dialogue. I want to thank our excellent staff for their superb contributions, including organizing this gala. And let me also pay special tribute to our committed board of directors, members, and members of our distinguished President's Leadership Council. Please all rise so we may recognize your leadership. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you very much. Now, I'm honored and delighted to introduce a man who has served since 1991 as executive president of CAF, Development Bank of Latin America, based in Caracas. Before I move on, if there's anyone that needs translation, si hay alguien que necesita traducción, hay una mesa aquí atrás con equipo para traducción en caso de que sea necesario. Well, before this gentleman, before becoming president of CAF Development Bank of Latin America, he was Bolivia's Minister of Planning and Coordination and head of the Economic and Social Cabinet. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Dialogue's co-vice chairman, el honorable Enrique García. Un aplauso para él, por favor.
Well, thank you very much. Buenas noches. It's a great honor and a pleasure to be here tonight and to see so many good friends. As president of CAF Development Bank of Latin America and as member of the board of the Dialogue and vice co-chair, I'm so happy to see all the great job this Dialogue makes in the region. You will have the opportunity to watch a very representative video of some of the work that is done by the Dialogue through different programs in which we try to tackle issues that are relevant for development in Latin America and at the same time that are relevant for hemispheric relationship. You'll see the interesting analytical work that then is translated into pragmatic action with recommendations that are given to governments to civil society, to the private sector, in areas that are crucial: institutions, corporate governance, issues of security, of crime, of drugs, migration issues, remittances, the issues of energy and mining and the impact in the environment, issues that are so relevant for the future of the region. And indeed, I'm very, very happy to introduce the video, and I'm sure that you are going to enjoy it very much. One element is very important also in one of the programs is the analytical work in terms of the relationship between China and Latin America. And it's not theory what they do. It is analysis that then has to be translated into pragmatic action for the improvement of the quality of life of the majority of the citizens. So I'm very happy to introduce the video. So the video is with you. Thank you.
Dialogue exists because it's absolutely critical for global leaders to come together to find solutions for challenges in the Western Hemisphere. It is a wide network that's been developed over the last more than 30 years that has engaged the best thinking, the best analysis, and people who are committed to constructive change on a wide range of issues. It's very, very important to have an independent organization with a diversity of views, well thought out, that are committed to finding practical, constructive solutions to problems and to really make progress on those.
I'm Kevin Casasamora. I'm the director of the Peter D. Bell Rule of Law program. My role is to be in charge of the efforts that the dialogue is doing in the area of the rule of law, which is obviously a very broad mandate, but happens to cover issues like corruption, like citizen security, access to justice, things that are really at the heart of the pending agenda in Latin America. The dialogue can play a role in bringing those issues to the table so that they are taken up by the people that can really make the changes possible where those changes are truly urgent.
My name is Lisa Vasidi. I'm director of the program on energy, climate change, and extractive industries. Our program focuses on two specific areas: sustainable investment. So investment and revenues from the oil and mining sectors are extremely important for many countries in Latin America. And our program focuses on attracting investment in an economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable way. And the second program area of focus is energy access and energy security. And our program focuses on providing information and shaping policy on those issues.
I am Ariel Fishbein, the director of the education program at the Inter-American Dialogue. The education program has made important contributions over the years in setting agenda in education policy in Latin America. We contribute by creating new ideas, being a catalyzer that brings together actors to find solutions to the emerging problems. The region will not continue developing, becoming more inclusive, and continue being democratic unless it addresses the problems of education quality and relevance that it currently has.
My name is Margaret Myers, and I'm the director of the China and Latin America program. China continues to be an extremely important partner for much of the region, and its presence has grown remarkably over the course of just about a decade and a half. There was a lot of macroeconomic analysis that had been done when we first developed the program, but very little understanding of what's actually happening on the ground. And so what we've looked to do is to identify China's prevailing interests, to characterize them accurately, and to look in depth at the country level, within economic sectors, and even at firm level, understanding Chinese companies and how they're interacting on a local level.
My name is Manuel Orozco, and I'm the director of the Migration and Development Program. My work at Inter-American Dialogue is a byproduct of my personal experience and a professional interest on key issues that shape human mobility. I'm a byproduct of the Cold War. I left my country in the 1980s for political reasons, and I developed an interest about what makes people get reconnected with their home country. And that took me to the study of family remittances. There are a number of lessons I have learned, but also important experiences in working in more than 100 countries globally. And that is that the impact of migration on change in general is something that is no longer negligible.
The 5 programs are absolutely critical to the future of the Western Hemisphere. The dialogue's special contribution and approach is really to convene people, the best people, from diverse perspectives, who are credible, who are serious, to address all of these issues and to find out what's the common ground and to probe differences and reach consensus views that could be made available to those who are key decision makers, both in the public sector as well as in the private sector.
What really interests me about the dialogue is its capacity to analyze very tough issues that involve the Western Hemisphere and to build cooperation based upon the facts, not upon slogans.
The Inter-American Dialogue is a very important institution for us Latin Americans. But the dialogue has also been a very careful observer, respectful but honest observer of what are still our deficiencies to develop faster economically and politically. And therefore, I think the Inter-American Dialogue really fills a huge vacuum, and they do it with excellence.
In the dialogue, I think, given its track record, given the credibility of its members, we're in a position to really have a significant impact on the agenda and of the course of proposals to come.